Planet Earth survived a war known as the Fall in 2563. Zalem is a city suspended in the sky above the Earth, by advanced engineering. Iron City is located beneath it. In the opening scene, we see Dr. Dyson Ito searching in the junkyard for the remaining robots and parts to use for his cyborg patients. He discovers the core of a female cyborg with a brain and core heart but no body or limbs. In his cyborg clinic, Ito works with a nurse assistant to rebuild the cyborg with a spare robotic body. After a few hours, she awakens with no recollection of her past. He discovers that Alita's new cyborg body works well with her original brain because she can control her fingers. Her sensory taste has also been proven to work when she likes orange fruit for the first time. She asks the doctor if she found a name for her. Ito gives her the name Alita because she doesn't remember her own name. Dr. Ito gives Alita a short tour of the Iron City, and informs her that after the Great Fall, only Zalem was left, and survivors came to the Iron City from all over the world. Everybody in the Iron City works for Zalem, the Sky City. And no one can go to Zalem from down here, that's the rule. When she's playing with a dog in the middle of the street, she finds a hunter-warrior bounty paper. While she's reading it, a giant robot appears to pass the street, and Alita tries to confront it. At this moment, a boy named Hugo jumps to save Alita. Alita jumps back to save the dog. Hugo is amazed by this act and he admits that he never saw anybody challenge a centurion before. When Hugo touches Alita's hand, he realizes that she's a cyborg. Alita likes Hugo and watches him when she leaves with Ito. At the doctor's clinic, we see another cyborg robot come to fix his body. Alita asked who attacked him and why. The man answered that hunters sell parts on the black market to supply the motorball games. When Alita wanders outside Chiron, Idol's ex-wife sees her and came to touch her hand. Because the body was built for her own daughter. She tells Ito that he was supposed to destroy the body, but Ito tells her that he couldn't. Chiron, Alita's real mother, was Ito's partner. After the real Alita died, Ito and Chiron split up. Chiron and Ito arrived in Iron City after being summoned from Zalem. Chiron's goal after her daughter's death is to return to Zalem. Chiron worked for Vector because he promised to return her to Zalem. Vector is the boss in charge of the Iron City motorball competition. Nova, a Zalem scientist, has given him the authority to send people to Zalem. Vector will send the winner of the motorball competition up to Zalem, Hugo, who also wishes to relocate to the Sky City of Zalem. He also demonstrates his desire to be a hunter-warrior like Zappin, a bounty hunter-warrior with a long sword as his signature weapon. Hunter-warrior makes money in Iron City by killing criminals. Hugo also introduces Alita to the neighborhood motorball race. Alita tries to participate, falls down, and is mocked at first. After a few attempts, her natural competitive streak emerges, and she defeats everyone to score a motorball goal. Alita discovers Ito is a hunter-warrior after following him one night and encountering 3 deadly cyborgs. Alita tries to protect Ito after he is injured and discovers that she is naturally skilled in an ancient martial art known as Panzerkunst. Alita experiences flashbacks to her life on Mars while fighting. She used to be a Code 99 warrior. She kills 2 of the cyborgs and severely injures the third, named Gruishka, who retreats underground. Gruishka promises to return and find Alita. Ito takes the head of the criminal to the bounty center with Alita to collect the bounty. Despite Alita's fighting abilities, Ito advises her against becoming a hunter-warrior. Alita, it turns out, was the name of Ito's deceased daughter. The initial purpose of the robotic body was to accommodate Ito's biological daughter, who was unable to walk and required a wheelchair for mobility. Unfortunately, Alita was unable to use the robotic body as she was tragically killed by a cyber criminal who had broken into Ito's clinic with the intention of stealing drugs. Ito says he becomes a bounty hunter because of his daughter's death. When Vector and Chiron discover Alita's capability, Nova orders them to kill her. Nova promises Chiron that if she completes the mission successfully, she will be able to return to Zalem. Gruishka, it turns out, works for Vector and Chiron. Alita meets with Hugo. He takes her to the motorball game for the first time. She loves the game and complains about Dr. Ito and tells Hugo that he wants her to be his perfect little girl. Vector instructs Hugo and his friends to attack cyborgs and steal their body parts in order to repair and upgrade Gruishka. Vector promises to send Hugo to Zalem once he has earned enough credits for his dirty work. Hugo and his friends took Alita to a forest area outside of town the next day. They discovered an old abandoned spaceship from the Fall era here. Alita says we have to go to the command deck. Alita entered the spacecraft via an underwater door and returned with a berserker warrior cyborg body. Ito refuses to implant her in the body because he wants Alita to have a second chance in life without having to be a warrior. Alita says we need the body because it would help them to fight Gruishka. Ito says forget it, he wouldn't implant it to her. Alita is dissatisfied and decides to rebel by registering as a hunter-warrior. Alita and Hugo go to the Kansas bar to recruit other hunter-warriors to assist her in defeating Grushka. They refuse to assist because Grushka is not on the wanted list and killing him provides no benefit or bounty. Zappin tries to intimidate and shame Alita, but she effortlessly overcomes him in a physical confrontation, causing him to feel embarrassed and humiliated. Alita then challenges all of the other hunter-warriors to a massive battle in the bar. She manages to beat all other bounty warriors one by one with her smart fighting techniques. As an upgraded Grushka storms into the bar and challenges Alita to a rematch, Ito arrives just in time to stop the fight. Grushka decides to fight Alita by dragging her to the underworld because she will be alone besides, it's his world, and knows it better than anyone else. Despite her bravery and martial arts skills, Grushka's bladed fingers sever Alita's body before Ito and another hunter-warrior force him to retreat once more. Ito places Alita in the berserker body, which automatically integrates with her because it was originally made for her kind. She goes to meet Hugo to show her new body and her strength. Hugo takes her hand and tells her to close her eyes, then Hugo kisses her, Alita kisses back and they two fall in love with each other. Grushka goes back to meet Vector. When Vector enters the room, Grushka smashes everything in the room. Nova uses Vector body to talk to him and says that's enough and he has failed him. Nova tells him that he can't defeat her unless he understands what she is. Alita is considered the most exceptional weapon of the URM technology. One of her last kind, and Nova needs him to destroy her. Vector realizes he will not be able to easily defeat Alita. He organizes a motorball match in which all participants are instructed to kill Alita for a large amount of credit. Simultaneously, he encourages Hugo to enter Alita in the motorball competition. Hugo and Alita can both go to Salem if Alita wins. Hugo tells Alita in order to go to Salem he needs money. Alita tells she can collect it from bounties but Hufo refuses. She again tells him that she will give him whatever she has. She offers her heart and says it's got a URM micro-reactor for a power supply and is worth millions. But Hugo refuses again and asks her to put it back in its place. And asks her not to do everything for people no matter how good they are. Hugo tells Alita there is another way. Vector desires for you to audition for the second league. He tries to convince her to participate in the game. He tells her that she can be a champion and they will be home free. Alita accepts it on one condition, only if he'll be her coach. Hugo accepts. Then they prepare for the game. In the other scene, Vector talks to the contestants and reminds them that this time it's not a game, it's a hunt and they need to kill Alita. Ito learns that the other contestants are hunter-warriors and other cyborgs hired by Vector to assassinate her. Every contestant tries to destroy Alita but her fighting mastery and speed assist her to fight them back and destroy most of them one by one. Everyone that came to watch the game are stunned by her bravery and they start to be a fan of hers and cheer for her support. Meanwhile, Zappin plans his retaliation against Hugo and Alita. Hugo and his friend Tanji were apprehended by Zappin while stealing cyborg parts. Zappin murders Tanji and frames Hugo for the murder of the cyborg in which they were taking part. Hugo now has a bounty on his head, and all hunter-warriors are on the hunt for him. Hugo is attempting to flee from Zappin while Alita is competing in the motorball race. Hugo calls Alita and invites her to meet him at the decommissioned church. Alita heads to the church. Other contestants follow to eliminate her. She manages to eliminate one of the contestants by throwing him into a big spinning machine. She confronts Zappin after eliminating the other contestants. Zappin tells her she's also a registered bounty hunter and reminds her that it's her duty not to let Hugo escape and that he wants to kill Hugo. Alita learns the truth about Hugo's work before Zappin mortally wounds Hugo. Chiron was supposed to kill Alita at the church, but instead, she saves Hugo's life by decapitating him and using Alita's heart to keep his brain alive. Zappin is enraged and tries to take Hugo's head from Alita but Centurion robots enter and remind Zappin of the bounty hunter registration code. Alita grabs his Damascus blade sword and slashes it off his face. Ito transplants Hugo's head onto a cyborg body. He also informs Alita that Hugo's belief that he could go to Salem for 1 million credits was a lie concocted by Vector because citizens of Iron City will never be able to enter Salem. Alita storms through the factory in search of Vector. Vector reveals that Chiron was murdered and that her organs and body parts will be delivered to Salem. This is the only way Iron City residents can travel to Salem. Alita engages in a second battle with Grushka inside Vector's office, ultimately defeating and killing him. She then proceeds to stab Vector, who has been mentally manipulated by Nova, a scientist from Salem. Alita promises Nova that she will exact vengeance on Hugo, and he makes the mistake of underestimating her. Hugo, in the meantime, has fled the clinic. He attempts to climb a factory tube toward Salem with his new cyborg body. As a massive spiked ring sent by Nova hurtles down the tube, shredding Hugo's body, Alita begs Hugo to return with her. Alita manages to seize Hugo's remaining arm and secure the tube with her sword. Hugo's elbow joints fail to support him and disintegrate, but not before he can say goodbye, leaving Alita clutching the remaining portion of his arm on the tube. Alita is heartbroken, but she is determined to live in Hugo's memory. Alita is shown as the motorball tournament star athlete in the final scene. The crowd applauds as she points her sword at Zalem, while Nova watches from above. Thanks for watching. If you like the content like this, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Help us to improve our channel. We would like to hear from you.